Hello, GenRight Nation. It is Wednesday, March 8th. And thanks everybody for joining us. We're going to give everybody a second to get on here. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk to you about. So I'm looking forward to another exciting tech talk, talking about your favorite subject and mine, Jeeps. So as you know, this is something we do live on Facebook and YouTube at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday. So if you haven't already done so, turn on your notifications so that you're getting when we go live. And that way you're never missing when we upload a new video or we're doing a live. So today we're going to be talking about the event we just went to and some upcoming events. And most importantly, we're going to be talking about tube fenders for your Jeep and all the reasons and benefits. So stay with us. A lot to learn, and everything from somebody who's brand new and just got a Jeep to somebody that's had a Jeep for a long time. You know, we might show you some new stuff that we've got. So, all right, let's start with a recap. This was the 60th annual Tierra del Sol Desert Safari, otherwise known as TDS. And this is a good event. If you've never been, this is an event that's great for vehicles at any build level, completely stock to, you know, fully built. It's out in the Truck Haven, Ocotillo area. And I loaded up and Andrew loaded up with me, Andrew Harris from our sales desk. And we went down there to enjoy the weekend, right? So we had a bunch of customers come wheeling with us. And if you've never been to this area, it's kind of some mud hills. And man, it's a lot of fun. Some of these little canyons get pretty deep. And you can see our Jeeps down there, or you can get up on the plateaus. This is an option. I did this as an option. You do not have to do this. I don't want to scare people that everything's this hard. This is the hardest option there. And really just trying to put my EXS through the paces and test my Mickey Thompson tires and just show all the capabilities. So obviously it made that look pretty easy. This was the first group that we took up to what's called the phone booth. And I did a little group shot up there. These are some of my very first customers that we ran into out there. So it was great to see those guys from the Tri-County Social Club. This is a much more narrow, tight notch, super fun to drive through. And then this is the equivalent of Chocolate Thunder. Everybody comes out here to play. And this person in their, you know, relatively new JL decided to test its side ability. There's another shot of it there. And you can see all the people that are there watching. And this is another little play area. You know, you can bypass this stuff or you can do it. He's running the Mickey Thompson Pro SXs. This was a totally stock Gladiator that was out there with us too. And these couple of Jeeps were, you know, like barely lifted on 33s. So lots of fun. Everybody can have fun. Huge area. You can wheel a day, at night. This is another customer of ours that just finished his JK Elite. And then Andrew was actually the first one that did that obstacle that you saw me doing just a second ago. And his Jeep is working really good. And there's a little two-door JK. And you know, again, look at that JK there, you know, on AT tires, and everybody was just having a great time. So great area. This is a man-made obstacle to be like the Rubicon, and this is Patrick Vaughn,
who's watching and says hi.
Okay, good. So he's getting a kick out of this then. In Shamrock coming through there, we had a lot of fun out there wheeling together. That was totally cool. And then this is the other perspective. Like, look at all the people lined up on here just there to watch vehicles come through. So there's hundreds of people there. Okay, next thing, if you missed TDS, don't miss Easter Jeep Safari. These are all events I'm talking about that you guys can come wheel with us, hang out with us. There is a lot of fun. Again, Moab, trails of all levels that you can wheel everything from stock on. And then, of course, after that, we go straight to Jeep Beach in Daytona. So this is coming up toward the end of April, like mid-end of April. And if you've never been to this is a lot of fun. There's a ton of activities. And of course, it is one of the few places you are still allowed to drive on the beach. And we always bring a nice crew out there to rally and have a good time with customers. As you can see, we took Aftershock back there. Look at all these Jeeps. This is just like one activity out there. And then of course, just like you guys, I had a lot of Tech Talk customers coming by to say hi. Of course, we go there with Mickey Thompson, and that's a lot of fun. Again, everybody's out there having a good time. Last time, Peter and Alan came with me, as well as the girls and Alex. So, all right, now let's talk about fenders. So, this is really the topic for today's show. Here at GenRight, we tend to overbuild our Jeep. We believe in overbuilding it. I kind of adopted that because back when I got into Jeeping, I was thinking, I'll just be happy going down some fire roads and going camping, away from everybody, just kind of getting away. And that lasted for about a year, and then I was ready to, start doing something tougher and tougher. So, back when I built my Jeep, I was on 33s, then I went to 35s, then I went to 37s, then I went to 40s, then I went to 42s. So I just want you guys to think ahead. I know today you're saying, hey, this thing, I don't plan on going serious off-road. Well, let me tell you, someday there's gonna be a time when you drive by a trail and go, I wonder where that goes. Or you take it to the snow, and the snow's a little deeper than you think. You're gonna want more clearance, you're gonna want bigger tires. And the reason you wanna get fenders right away, early in the cycle, is because a lot of people just put in lift kit tires and wheels. Well, when you do that, you overlift the vehicle. So because the factory fenders are super thick plastic, you're trying to get a look and move the Jeep up. Well, you end up lifting it too high, and that raises your center of gravity, and then it makes it super tippy off-road. So by getting a tube fender like this, it opens the fender well and allows you to run bigger tires. In fact, when you put these fenders on, if it's a JK, you can run 35s. If you put them on a JL, you can run 37s. You don't have to do much, and you can run a lot bigger tire. When it comes to CJ, YJ, TJ, we make a whole nother set of fenders, and we'll get into those as well. So basically, I want to make sure that you guys understand there's some benefits to this. Second is the fender is also much more secure than the plastic fender. The plastic fender is held on with these little clips, and you even bump that thing and it rips off. So these are bolted on, and that's going to be a lot more secure. The other thing, by bolting them on, is you make the fender a lot stronger, the actual sheet metal fender on the vehicle. So by bolting all that together, now you've increased the structure strength. So this picture is talking about the width. Hopefully you guys can see that. That we offer a narrow one, and then we offer one that's a little bit wider, which would be same as stock. And on the JL, right now we only offer the narrow one. By the way, we sell 9 out of 10 fenders are the narrow version. So unless you live in an area where you have to have extra tire clearance, then I would get the narrow. Because when you're turning through trees or rocks or wherever obstacles you like to go, as the front wheels turn, the fender sticks out. So you want the most narrow one you can get. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this. This is just a slideshow that's gonna play, and I might pause it from time to time and kind of talk about what we're looking at. So, look, I know you may say, I'm not wheeling that hard, I don't think I need this. Well, just hear me out, and we'll talk about all the reasons, okay? First, they look awesome. So that brushed aluminum in contrast to whatever color you have on your Jeep. There's only one part you can leave raw aluminum like this, and GenRight is the king when it comes to aluminum fenders. And look at the nice contrast. Oh, and by the way, if you do scratch it up, you can fix the scratches yourself. I'm going to show you that in here in just a minute. So we make a variety. There's a JL on 35s.
Oh my God, that's a good looking.
And if you guys do have questions and comments, just type them in, and Jennings is here to read those off too. There's a JT with all of our stuff.
So sexy.
Don't forget we have Inner Fenders as well. And you know, then here's our Tuxedo, which is a stretch TJ. And here's a JK on 37s with a very small lift. Again, there's the same JK, just looking at it from the back.
Kathy McCavis said, bought your fenders for my husband for Christmas. Wow, are they nicely built? Your customer service was excellent as well. Top notch all the way. Absolutely great product. Roll cage is next.
All right, glad to hear it. Yeah, that's great. There's a YJ with our high fenders on it. So I'm just gonna let this play in the background. I'm gonna talk about this, right? So first off, they look awesome, right? That bare brushed aluminum enhances and shows off that you spent the money for the good GenRight stuff, and it looks phenomenal. There's nothing else that looks like it.
That's my favorite part. All my friends too.
So the next thing is it'll fit bigger tires, right? So you can see how much it opens up the fender well. It allows you to fit a bigger tire without having to overlift the Jeep. They're still lightweight. So the last thing you want to do is add a bunch of weight to your vehicle. That really affects the performance. So we make them out of aluminum. They're lightweight and they will not rust. So for a lot of you that live in those areas, that's important. That one there was a fender delete. So if you really want to go ultra narrow,
Jeep, right?
that was Summer's Jeep, yeah.
Someone asked if you're going to Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion this year again.
That's the plan.
Right.
That's the plan.
Summer Ann is watching. She says, hey.
Okay. She just saw her Jeep then.
Yep.
I mean, look at this variety of Jeeps. They're just awesome. And you know, wouldn't you want your Jeep to look like one of these? I mean, this is good stuff. So good stuff. All right. Next, you can repair scratches on these yourself, and I'm going to show you how to do that with a little bit of Scotch-Brite. And if you really get gouged, you can use a flap wheel or file and straighten it right out. So you can, if you're one of those kind of people that is really intent on painting them, whether you paint them black or you want to paint them to match or powder coat, they can be painted or powder coated. And
I have a couple questions.
Sure, go for it.
Are the inner fender liners available in black?
They are. So I know we stock them for the JK in black. You'd have to ask about the JL, and maybe Jeff's on and he can answer that. So a lot of the time we do stock those in black.
And Overland Bugs asked, how much coverage do the 4-inch have over a stock width Dana 30 with 10.5-inch width tires?
So, okay, that's a great question, and that's one of the things that I wanted to cover. Is 4-inch, what we call 4-inch, is exactly the same as stock. So if you feel like you have enough coverage with what you have, then great, you can get the 4-inch from us. If you need more, we also offer a 6-inch. So if you need that extra coverage, you can get it, okay? But be sure you really need it, because otherwise your fender is what's gonna hit, right? That's the first thing that's gonna hit. So we've got the stock width, the narrow width, the wider width, and then on like TJ, YJ, CJ, we offer the high fender as well. So all more reasons. We talked about inner fenders, and by the way, you can do a little bit at a time. You know, you don't have to get the rockers and the bumpers and the whole 9 yards all at once, just like that other person was talking about. You know, you do the roll cage. This is another option too, what we call our EXT flare. So it's not a full comp cut, but it does give you the ability to, you know, stretch it out a little bit more. This is what Kelly Sims is running on Silver Surfer.
Mark
There's
Lawrence
RSG.
asked what the pros and cons are of inner fender liners.
So it depends on what you're running, right? So first off, if you've got a V8, I'm reluctant to recommend inner fender because it really traps the heat in there. Now, if you got a stock power plant, there was Inner Fenders in there already. You can dress it up with some of ours and make it look a lot better. And by the way, you know, our Inner Fenders have a little grill on the inside, kind of like Jamie did right here, where you can paint the grill or you can paint the GR and, you know, have a little bit more contrast to match the rest of your vehicle. So this is just looping, so you're going to get to see TDS again.
Dennis Sargent said deciding is the hard part for my CJ.
Yeah, yeah, and we, you know, keep in mind for the CJ, YJ, TJ, we also make what's called a boulder, which is no flare, and that's my favorite. That's originally what I was running on, and there should be some pictures in here because Kurt and Austin were out there, and they were running no flare, our boulder. And I think this is one of them down there, but that's kind of small for you guys to see. So, okay. And then, of course, I don't know if you guys noticed, we just sent out a newsletter, and we just made packages. So you can buy front and rear fenders or front and rear bumper. We just made some packages that give you some additional savings. And those are on our website right now. So go over there, check it out. We've got them for JL, JK, all the different vehicles, and that'll save you a few bucks as well. So definitely check that out. And then, of course, if you don't see what you're looking for on our website, call in. I got a ton of people there that are ready to answer your questions. So, what are the questions?
Looking at TDS,
Yeah.
Scott Zetler said, great time with you guys last weekend. Thanks for your help with the shocks.
Oh yeah.
With the springs.
Yeah, we did a little secondary nut or crossover nut lowering on that to give his vehicle a little more stability.
And Tom Cantwell, who's in this video right here,
Yeah, right there.
said, I may need to ditch my not GenRight fenders for the real deal.
I know.
Would love to match them with two-door stretch corners. Hint, hint.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, he should call Jeff Perkins and put that bug in Jeff's ear, because I think we're making more two-door stretch stuff, so definitely get your name on some of those.
Okay, Don Carr said, can't wait to see what they will look like. Just did the frame stretch on my TJ, getting the tracer suspension in next in the body, and next is the body, so ready to get the Jeep out and wheel.
Nice. Yeah, it's coming that time of year, so. And business always picks up this time of year. You know, everybody's amped to get out there and wheel, so it's a lot of fun. And you know, for us, that's King of the Hammers kind of kicks that off, but for most people, it's TDS. I mean, I don't know, there was 50,000 people out there. It was a lot of people.
VB Tom said, Highlines with the EXT look great. And Jim Leo said, I modified your 6-inch steel TJ fenders to fit my CJ8. They fit and look great.
There you go, see? So
I said, can confirm these are built to last.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. You know, the way that we construct our fenders, and a lot of people have veered off from this, is we use an actual tube, and then there's a plate on the top and a plate on the back, and you can see some structural reinforcements in there. Guys, this is a super good, efficient, lightweight construction. You'll notice some of the manufacturers have gone to like this formed thing, but the problem is that when your tire hits the inside of that formed one, it just slices the tread. So you really want to be careful about that. We can make things any way we want, right? And we chose this way a long time ago, and it works out really, really well. So you definitely want to do that.
Parrot Newcomb said, we love our Highline front fenders and EXT rear fenders on our LJ with the Mickey Thompson performance tires and wheels.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we had both the Mickey Thompson MT and the AT out at TDS, and everything was just performing awesome. So.
Kayla's watching. Hi, Kayla.
Hey, Kayla. Yeah, she's there. She is right there. Awesome. So she's got our GenRight fenders on her JK.
See you at Jeep Beach.
And a cage and everything, right? So,
Car says, have to trade out the steel metal cloak flares on my JK for the aluminum one to save some weight.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's an amazing. By the way, on a, if it's a JK, if you change everything over to aluminum, it's a 600-pound savings. So on a like TJ, YJ, CJ, you got about a 400-pound savings, but it's a lot, guys. And that's like adding 30 horsepower back to your Jeep. And these things aren't exactly overpowered, so I know everybody can use that extra power.
Off-topic question?
Sure.
David Hodges said, 2004 LJ 4.0 auto on 35-inch tires. Have 3.73 gears now. What gears should I run with 35s?
Yeah, he should be going to 456. That's where he needs to be. And that'll bring it right back to stock.
All right.
Yep. Check out Yukon. They've got a great deal on ring and pinions.
Kevin Kerwin asked, Inner Fenders available for EXS converted JLs?
So not yet. That's a bit more of a challenge because of the giant coilovers in there. So that'll be something we eventually get to. But I can tell you this. I'm surprised you actually didn't use this video, Jennings. We went on an overland trip where there was a giant mud hole and she wanted me to go faster so she could video it. And mud sprayed everywhere except for onto the engine. There was no mud that sprayed onto the inside. So I was really surprised. I thought for sure, but nope, the exhaust didn't even have a drop on it. So
Sorry, it made a cool
kind
video.
of interesting. Yeah. So this is one thing I wanted to talk about. We call these a boomerang. And we get this call all the time. It goes right here on the inside, because what happens is if you leave the factory plastic inner fender, you have to cut it. And it leaves this opening that's pretty ugly and you can see all kinds of stuff on the inside. So you just mount this boomerang inside there and it just goes in between the skin, the fender skin, and then you bolt it all together and it just bolts right through, and it's really, really clean way to do it. So we get that question all the time, so I wanted to cover that.
Sean Sullivan asked, when am I going to see a little wider JL fenders?
That's still a little ways out from us. We're still playing catch up on everything, so yeah. And by the way, when we let this play back through, let me play this a little more.
Someone disagrees with your gear ratio advice.
Oh, really? Well, they're welcome to do whatever they want. It actually, hang on. If you go to my Tech Talk page on the website, I have a sheet. It's a whole scale that you can download as a PDF, and it has tire size and gear ratio, and it tells you exactly what to do. So if you don't believe me, go check it out for yourself. It's readily available.
Okay,
So.
wait. Corey Coleman said, LJ 4.0 manual, I want to go to 37s. What gears do you recommend? I drive more on-road than off.
Yeah, so he's got a challenge. So here's what happens. Most people would say go to 488s, but the proper ratio for a 37 is 513. And here's why. Because you're never using your overdrive gears. And you get the slightest hill and you got to drop a gear. Where if you go to 513s, you'll be able to use all your transmission and your first gear will be nice and deep. So, again, you can look on that gear ratio chart, tire size chart, and look at it. It's right there, 488, 513. The downside with 513.
He said he likes 538 now.
Well, 538, okay, so here's the deal. If you're one of these guys, and I have this conversation all the time with my customers, right? Because they tell me, oh no, Tony, I just want to go to 37s right now. And I'm like, yeah, sure, for like the next year. Because the next thing I know, they want to go to 40s. Well, you need 538s to go to 40s. So if you think you're going that direction, just go to 538s and re-gear for last time. Now the downside is, if you're on Dana 44s, that is giving you a tiny little pinion. So that's why everybody moves to a Dana 60 or bigger, and it's 70 or 80, because you need that bigger ring gear and bigger pinion to drive the 40+ inch tire. So.
Robert Wheeler asked, would you need that boomerang thing if you're running your inner fender liners? I left it off because I wasn't sure it was needed. Yeah,
no, if you're running our inner fenders, then you don't need that. It's only for the stockers, so. Yep, good question.
Any news on the GenRight EJS plans?
So we are running trails every day, and we get there, I think our first day is on the 1st, and running all week. We're not displaying at the vendor show, so we're just out there to wheel and hang out and be seen. So if you want to talk to us, track us down. By the way, we're there to talk to you and other people. So you're not bothering us. Just grab me by the shoulder in a parking lot, at a restaurant, out on the trail, and I'm happy to talk Jeep parts and look at your Jeep, and that's what we're there for. So.
VB Tom asked, what do you do with everything that attaches to the inner fender if you don't replace the OEM ones with the new aluminum fenders? Yeah,
so then you're faced with relocating all that stuff. And that is a good question. So on a TJ LJ, we've got a new battery box that relocates that stuff, and that helps a lot. And then otherwise, yeah, you've got to transfer that stuff over to our inner fenders. So if the question was, if I don't run an inner fender, what do I do with all that stuff? That's a whole nother, yeah, you got to find somewhere to mount all that stuff. But again, you know, if you're not running a big V8 and creating a lot of heat, then run an inner fender, it's just fine. And it really cleans up that, you know, inside fender well, just like this is showing, quite nicely.
I missed a question. Do the 4-inch fenders sweep in at the front, like follow the hood line?
They do. Let's see if we can find a picture of that. There might be one. Kind of like that, where it's curving with the hood. We'll see if we can find a little more straight on picture, and I'll pause it. But they do. Oh, actually, swing around. Swing around and look at Terramoto. So you can see, maybe on this side, we'll go to the driver's side. So you can see how this fits with the hood. And this is the narrow, so this would be the same on a JL or JK. And that's the idea. Remember I told you when you turn, then there's this big void here, and you want that as tight as you can get it. Because the front tire will tuck in like this, right? So otherwise there's nothing protecting all this stuff. And that really is a good example. I forgot that was sitting there. All right.
Okay, Mike Stewart said 2017 JKU Rubicon Hard Rock to run 37s, daily weekend warrior. Your thoughts on the Curry 44 or the Curry 60 with 5-lug pattern?
So this is $1 million question here, right? So if you ever intend, right? So today it's your daily driver. When you're talking about these parts, these are very expensive parts. You got to think way ahead, right? Now, that said, anything that you have on your Jeep, you can take off and sell in a heartbeat if you didn't customize it and make it so it only fits your Jeep, right? So if you bought a 44, man, 2 years from now, when you decide you want to go to bigger, you could turn around and sell that thing in a heartbeat, okay? But my recommendation is always go to a 60. And when you go to a 60, don't just buy the standard bolt pattern, right? Step up on the bolt pattern. I know it means you got to buy new wheels, but when you get a 60, you get locking hubs. So now, when you unlock the hub, you're freewheeling on the road, and that's a huge savings for mileage and just wear and tear on your entire drivetrain. So think about that too.
Anthony Paquette said, what happens if you have used the wrong vendor's fenders and now want to install GenRight fenders? How are the mounting holes spaced, or are they pretty standard spacing?
They're pretty standard spacing. So what a lot of us do is the hole pattern inside here is based on the factory holes that were there, using the plastic clips that were originally held the plastic fenders on. So what we do is we just pop those out, you drill it out slightly, and you put a rib nut in. Now, I did notice that some companies run a little bigger rib nut than we do. No problem, just drill these holes to the next size and reuse those bolts, and you'll be fine. So,
Jerome said, I switched from Poison Spider to GenRight and didn't run into too many issues.
there you go. So, yeah, so I don't know what brand he's talking about, but yeah, these really go on quite easy. And by the way, you can drill new holes, you know, if this flange that I was just showing you on the inside right here, like if the hole is here or even slightly off, just drill a new hole, right? This is super thick and it'll hold up. This, by the way, this is 3/16 thick, this backing plate, where the top plate's 1/8 inch thick and the tube is also 3/16 thick. So that's a very thick wall. We have that tubing custom made for us in a special heat treat so that we can bend it and do everything we need to do. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on there.
Sean Sullivan says, love the high clearance front bumper with grill guard for the JT we just got.
Nice.
Let everyone know there are some options that may not be on the website.
Oh, yeah. So that's a good point. When it comes to the bars that we offer, we don't necessarily show every bar option on the website. So yeah, definitely call in. People look at, like, you know, this has got the taller bar on it that most guys run, like on a TJ, and we can put that. We have all those bars in stock, so we can put that on anything. But I think what he's talking about is like a mid-size bar, you know, so, and on an ultra clearance on top of that. So this show isn't really about the bumpers, but if you go over to our website, like I said, we've got those packages right now with the bumpers, fenders, tire carriers, all kinds of stuff. And if you don't see what you're looking for, just call in, okay? So.
Glenn Bartel said, I'm putting a 6.0 in my 98 TJ. I want the Highlines to keep it low on 40s. Would like inner fenders to keep mud off the engine. How different are your regular Highline inners compared to your tracer inner fenders?
The tracer is only done to go around the coilover. Our regular inner fenders were made for actually a stock coil bucket, so you'd have to trim. So if you think you've relocated your coil bucket or done something different, then you would want to go with that as your choice. So yeah, the standard one should be fine. And we also offer, like in the tracer, because a lot of the guys did a V8, it's cut up a little higher to allow a little bit more airflow in there, so it doesn't come all the way down to the frame. So, but you should be able to go on our website and see that. So.
Jesse Paulson said, I was told that the older TJ front fenders and inners took some massaging with a BFH to install. Are the newer ones more straightforward?
Yeah, everything, I mean, you know, that would have been like 20 years ago when we were making them out of steel. The new stuff is all built in jigs, and, you know, everything is, you know, back then a lot of the fenders were hand formed and tubes were hand bent. That's not the case anymore. Everything's CNC, and when the guys put this stuff in the fixture to weld it, you know, it literally pops out and pops right back in. So we know everything fits perfect. So, and you know, that's like this is a, you know, TJ or YJ fender right here, and this is like a current production one. And part of, you know, what I wanted to show is, you know, this opening. You know, we put a mesh grill here now, and by the way, there's a couple of benefits to this, right? So we, sorry, I'm trying not to make that scratch like that. This also, by this being removable, makes it super easy to get to these inner bolts on the firewall. So yeah, we've made a lot of improvements on these over the years, and the construction is just really nicely done. And then this is form fitted to the grill, so there really shouldn't be any massaging happening. And yeah.
Nick Repanich asked, will we be wheeling with Terramoto or Aftershock at EJS?
At EJS is going to be Aftershock. Yeah. Terramoto is about to go under the knife. Poor Terramoto took a lot of abuse out of KOH, and the transmission is a little bit wounded. So we're going to pull that out, and while I've got it out, I'm going to put the other engine back in that's been sitting here waiting. So I probably won't have Terramoto till HDR, which, by the way, is the next event after Jeep Beach. So
speaking of Terramoto,
yeah.
Jim Whitley asked, where do I get the same hood as Terramoto?
So that's made by True Fiber here in California. We used to sell them, but the guy didn't want to sell them to us at any kind of a discount, so it wasn't worth it to us to actually stock them. But yeah, that's a great hood. Yeah, even if I trash that one, I'd put another one on that, because my intake goes up inside that, so my air filter is right there pulling in cold air from the outside, and then it's got the side vents to let the heat out from the headers. So yeah, super cool setup.
A couple people are asking if there are any updates for the cups, the yellow cups on the website.
You know, I don't know if Jamie got them on the site yet, but I know we did them in colors. We did them in black, white, blue, and red. We've got a bunch of. Yeah, I saw him photograph them all. So if he's watching, maybe he can comment on that, or if Jeff knows where that's at. Excuse me.
Hills has a JK question. How
Okay.
much narrower in inches are the narrow front fenders?
2 inches more narrow. 2 inches. This is a non-narrow. Here, we can go back over. I'll hold it up.
Whoa, wait, whoa.
It's if I go like this might give you.
Don
idea.
Carter said, FYI, I ordered the Terramoto hood, took about 2 months to get, so be
Yeah.
prepared.
I don't think they stock them, but there's the difference. It's quite a bit.
Several months, I guess.
This is same as stock. This one I've got upside down. So if I go to the other side and hold it up,
There we go.
right? That's
Better.
it's quite a bit wider.
Thanks.
So okay, and where we measure this is, you know, what was stock in this spot right here. So you can see it's a lot more narrow for sure.
It was 7 months, he said, to get the hood.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Oh boy.
So be prepared.
Stay there, because one of the things that I did want to talk about was Scotch-Brite. So if you'll notice this, I don't know if you can see it from there, but this fender has a few scratches, you know, just from being around the shop, and you know, even yourself when you're mounting them, you may scratch them up. And I wanted to show you, we sell this burgundy Scotch-Brite. This is what we use in our shop, and you can literally, it's like, you know, if you ever work with wood, you just go with the grain of the metal and you can take all the scratches out. By the way, this also works to remove stains and all kinds of other stuff, but you can bring these back to looking just like the day that they got them from us, you know, like they came in. So you can see even this older fender that's been on here for a long time, you can just hit it right up and make it look like brand new.
Like if it's raining and you don't want to go wheeling, just stay home
and
buff
polish
up
up your stuff.
fenders.
Yeah. I mean, it really makes them look nice. So, and yeah, you can get in to all the little grooves and clean it up. So kind of cool. And then I've got one over here that's more damaged that I wanted to show you guys as well.
Seabass asked, do you build anything for XJs? I need a skid to cover my Atlas.
No, we don't. The only thing we've got for the XJs is the gas tank, which does come with a skid. So, and then of course, our hood louvers are universal. So can you see this? This is off the Aftershock. I got into a rock someplace. So you got a couple of choices, and this is one of the things that we were talking about. You know, your plastic fenders, the moment you hit them, you know, if you get rock rash like this, it's either going to destroy them or it's going to rip them off. If they're painted, now you're going to be spending some serious money over at the body shop. And for that money, you can go buy a set of our aluminum fenders. So I'm not sure why you would be restoring your plastic fenders. You'd be better off to get some aluminum ones. So I was going to show you when you get this, you just take a file and you knock off the big edges, right, where it kind of galls up. And if it doesn't want to go away, remember this is super thick wall. You could take an angle grinder like this and smooth it out, and then you go back with your Scotch-Brite and you can start making it look really nice again. It really doesn't take much. Like there's a little bit of a burr right there. Just take that down. Now, I'm using a pretty coarse file right now. I would normally go back over it with a little bit finer file, but you know, you can pretty easily come back and tune up your own fenders and make your stuff look pretty nice. So, all right. Oh, and this one, by the way, let me flip this up, because this one also we went mud wheeling and it got a little bit stained. Can you see that a little bit? A little here. Yep. And I guess you can take my word for it. But again, if you just hit it with the Scotch-Brite, you can literally just polish that right off. You know, and this would also apply if you live near the ocean and it gets a lot of salt on it or something. You can literally just buff this right out and you know, make this thing look just like when you got it from us. So it really works good and makes it super easy to maintain.
Jerome said, fun fact, the holes in the aluminum cargo rack fit Yeti 30-ounce cups perfectly.
That's cool.
That's clever.
And then, you know, a long time ago, people used to ask us about these inner fender braces. So let me see if I can find one here for the JK. So
Dennis Sargent says, depends how much partying you do. This will determine how big of the fenders you need to hold the drink.
Right. Well, a lot of people like flat fenders for that reason.
I love them for that reason.
So here, that's not it. Okay, here we go. Stop. Okay, so if there used to be a concern that you needed more support right here, and we made these little guys to go in there. So one of these bolts picks up on the factory hole, you know, that you're going to use to bolt the fender down, and the other one comes over and ties into the inner fender. So if you were looking for more structure, because you know the standard, you know, body fender is pretty thin, so those give you a little bit beefier structure there. So just figured I'd point that out while we're talking about fenders. A lot of people ask about that too. So more questions? I see you smiling over there.
Well, Rick Harrington said you're hired, except he wants to get it done by the time he gets home, Tony.
Oh, the Scotch-Briting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's always fun to keep up on all that stuff, but I'll tell you, just a few minutes and you can make the stuff look tremendous. So, and I love the contrast. You know, if any color Jeep, they just look great. So. And like I said, you know, of course you can paint them or powder coat them if you want to. You're just not going to be touching them up like I was just doing.
Did you talk about how big of a tire you could fit with the new fenders over stock? Sure.
You know, obviously all of us run 40s and 42s. So let's start back with TJ, YJ, CJ. So this is a high fender. High fenders raised this 3 inches and moved this back 3 inches. So you gain 3 inches up, 3 inches back. That you can see how narrow this is back here. And that's where we made this giant opening. Now, in addition to that, you know, all of us that have switched over to a link style suspension have also moved the axle forward. That'll allow you to run, like we do on Kelly's, a 42-inch tire. So a lot better there, including that EXT rear flare that we were talking about earlier.
Like how big of a tire can you go if you don't switch the fenders?
Oh, well, it depends on the Jeep, right? So obviously way back, like in a CJ, you couldn't even get a 33 on there. A YJ, a 31 or a 33 was pretty safe. A TJ, a 35 and little trimming, you could get a 37 in there. You know, these JKs and JLs, I've got if you go to our website and go to the gallery, there's a red JK on 35s with no lift. All we did was our fenders. And the benefit to that is the thing drives exactly like stock. Then on a JL, you can run 37s really easy. Those fenders, you know, they're super thick. And, you know, like here, right, the fender's like super thick. So by taking away that plastic fender, you really open up that inner fender well. So we're running, you know, 40s on these things without doing much. And then I'm gonna find out what it takes to put a 42 on these pretty soon. So I'll let you know.
Oh, are you going to update the tire carrier when the 42s come out to be able to hold it?
So a tire carrier already holds a 42. We tested it way back when with a 42-inch Goodyear. So a 42, 1450, 17, which the wheel, the rim itself doesn't matter at all. It fits a 42. You do have to put the lugs in between the tube. Do we have one in here up on the wall? No, I guess not. But yeah, you just have to position the lugs so that they fit on a tire carrier. And yep, fits right on there.
David Mork said, how much added clearance on a TJ LJ front fender?
How much added clearance? So you would just by getting rid of the factory fender, you're going to gain 2 inches up, 2 inches back. Then you do our high fender, you gain an additional 3 inches up, 3 inches back. So it's a lot. And if you go over to our website, we've got some drawings like where Jamie photoshopped over a couple of things so you can see, you know, how much difference there is in the fender.
And Louis Salgaro asked, what's the difference between the JK EXT flare and the TJ EXT flare if they both mount to corners only?
Ah, good question. So the JK one, remember the JK, although you probably have never like sighted down the body, the entire body is curved. Same on JL. TJ, it's flat. So if you tried to take that EXT JK fender and put it on there, you'd find a gap. And yeah, if you have a JK, you need to buy the JK one. If you have a TJ, you need to buy the TJ one.
Jerome
Good question,
says,
though.
don't forget to talk about fender deletes that you offer too. I know a few guys that are running them.
Yeah, I saw that picture go by. If I see it again, right? Yeah. Where? Let me see if I can.
And
oh,
Max
right there.
Brokaw he added that I used the red, then green, then gray Scotch-Brite on my GenRight aluminum roof, and it shined up really nice. Then applied a coat of shark hide.
Yeah, yeah. This is I brought those extra bits out here because they are different grades. Okay, there's Summers, and believe it or not, we sell a lot of these. We make them for the front and the rear. So basically, it's like a glorified back plate that I was showing you earlier. And you just bolt that on, you know, so you take off the fender and there'll be a recess there. You bolt this on and put it in that recess. It cleans it up, you know, it's nice looking. So definitely a possibility. Yep.
And VB Tom said he got his GenRight cargo rack yesterday and he's designing a tilt-up mount system.
Nice, nice. We've done a couple for customers. The trouble we've had is when it sits back down, if there's nothing in it, it'll rattle. So we just, for most people, we just said, okay, we're gonna pass on that, but it's totally doable. Totally doable.
Justin O'Brien said aluminum corner armor being delivered tomorrow. So Scotch-Brite and run them, or how about Scotch-Brite and clear coat?
That's totally up to you. They're probably gonna come when we actually leave the lettering on them so you can see they're genuinely 6061 T6 aluminum. A little bit of acetone or brake cleaner will take that right off. So, but through the mounting process, you're gonna have to clamp those on there to get them to fit really nice and tight before you drill your holes. So after all that's done, you're probably going to want to Scotch-Brite them and just give them a nice grained finish. And I mean, we have some people that polish them and stuff. I mean, you can go crazy with this stuff for sure. But for the most part, just putting a nice brush finish on there. And then I wouldn't clear it myself, because then if something happens, you got to get all that clear off in order to repair it, or otherwise you can just go over and scuff it right back up. So anyways, little word of the wise. What else you got?
Looks like we're all caught up.
We got about 5 minutes left, everybody. So feel free to type in your questions, even if it's off topic. I'm happy to take care of those while we still have a few minutes. I sure appreciate everybody watching. Remember to turn on your notifications and join us at those events. Like, guys, out at TDS, I invited everybody. That was an open invite to come wheel with us, come hang out with us, come camp with us. And we do that at the events. I know there's a lot of newer Jeepers that are like, Tony, how do I wheel with you? That's it. That's the only invite you get. Like, show up and take advantage of it. So, by all means.
Laura Wilkinson asked if you're coming back to the East Coast anytime soon.
I am. I'll be back there in April for Jeep Beach in Daytona, and then back in Tennessee for Smoky Mountain as well. Yep. So, got a few coming up.
Corey said, can we please get a package for 4-inch aluminum Highline fenders with EXT rear?
All you need to do is call in and tell Jeff or Andrew, make me a package deal for these, and they will do it for you. Okay?
Ari asked, where are you camping at EJS?
Not sure yet. That's a good question. I need to figure that out, though. Might just be on BLM land out there.
Daniel Rogers asked, is there a YJ Inner Fender for Highline fenders?
There is. Okay. So if you're ready to buy some of those, I just made them, and I've been looking for somebody to try them. I'm not going to give them to you for free, but because I'm almost positive they work perfect. But I can make you a pretty good deal. So reach out to me on Facebook Messenger or by email.
Laura Wilkinson asked, a 98 hoodie, number 98
Oh, I know we were just doing an inventory on the 98 stuff, and there was talk about us ordering more. So I think she had reached out to me, so I've got her on the list for making that happen. Oh, for her also, I am coming back to Ohio, Akron, Ohio, for our National Jeep Night in July. So it'll be the third weekend in July that I'll be back there in Akron, Ohio. So for Mickey Thompson, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's see. Randy Jenkins said, I absolutely beat the living crap out of our aluminum GenRight CJ Highline fenders. They came off, were re-welded, sledgehammer straightened on my trailer deck, and tough as nails. That's great.
Yeah, well, Jennings and I have seen plenty of people, including myself, over on their side, and the fenders hold up just fine. So,
like that guy at TDS.
Yeah.
Scott Zetler said, I ordered King Springs 300 top and 400 bottoms.
Okay, that's good. So then that'll move the preload right back up where it needs to be. So that's cool. Good job. I love helping everybody. I really enjoy it. So you guys aren't imposing on me at all. I really enjoy it.
Everyone's happy that you have your hat on back this week. Okay, Catherine Morris said, JLUR rear bumper. Is there an option to have a KC3 Light Set hole made?
No, that's gonna be something that you have to, or your installer has to cut in there. Just make a little pattern and trace it on there, and then drill it out. So I know the problem is we can't. you know, you want KCs, somebody else wants Baja, somebody else wants Vision X. I mean, we just can't meet everybody's interest on that, so.
And Louis asked, how much more clearance do you get with GenRight fenders on an LJ than metal cloak fenders?
So it depends on whether you run the standard or the Highline like this one. So remember, the standard is going to be 2 inches more, and then this is 3 inches more than that on up and down. So this is quite a bit. Now I think what metal cloak does is they have a standard fender that they bend up to this point and then back down, where we trim the hood. So I think you're actually not getting any more than we offer. So it's just a different way of doing it. So I'm a fan of trimming the hood. So
Anthony Chevalier asked, any scratch and dent parts for a TJ after KOH or TDS?
Call in and talk to the guys, and maybe they can find you something.
Well, he just showed you how to fix the scratches.
Yeah,
so
I know, yeah. No, I can tell you this. You know, occasionally parts get slid around the shop. You know, some of them are powder coated like a tank skid. There are rocker guards. You know, I've seen stuff around here where rather than us, you know, trying to list it on closeout or something, we'll just make a deal on it. And yeah, so just call in, talk to Andrew or Jeff, and I'm sure they'd be happy to try and help you with something.
Terry Mode said flat fender look is the best.
I know, it is.
It is.
It is. So, getting down there, huh? Mm-hmm. Let me see if I have anything else on this stuff that we wanted to talk about. That's the fenders we were just looking at here. And there's of course, this is the Jeep that started it all, right? The Jamie's Jeep now, but the Growler. And you know, this has been a great platform. He took it from me and stretched it and did a bunch of other work to it. And man, he's been having a good time in that Jeep. So it's great to see my oldest son driving that Jeep and taking care of it. He was here this weekend working on it. So, and as many of you know, he's won our Real Hammers experience twice in that Jeep over me. So good job.
Yeah, looks like we're all caught up.
All right. Well, that's cool. I appreciate everybody joining. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up then. And we'll look forward to talking to everybody next Wednesday. Have a good weekend.